after. Thank you so much for bearing with us, by the way. I know there's so many of you that have been watching and listening to us talk about the dumbest of stuff, but...
Deixa eu ver o draft. TK Jinx contra EZ Karma. Victor contra Kali. Kennen contra Gwen. E Shinzal contra Lecin. Tá. Top, eu acho que o Kennen puxa. Bot, eu acredito que a Karma e o EZ puxem no início. Depois eles têm o perigo de tomar o win do TK, a Karma. Só que a Jinx consegue puxar o wave. Mid, o Faker vai ganhar muito hard no início. A partir do 6 ele fica com um pouco de medo.
And it just goes to show that these types of issues in a game like League of Legends are so massive that, you know, it's going to take a debate.
Motivo do pause.
Also gives a little bit of time to talk about the drafts of this game, or of this game rather, because I actually think there's a lot of interesting little moments. As I think we're like 40 seconds in.
So he's experiencing an audio issue. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I cannot. So he's... Okay, there's the audio.
이게 왼쪽만 들렸다 오른쪽만 이거 양쪽 들렸다 해요.
He can only hear from his left.
저 플래시 탔어요. 이거 리바 가능할까요?
When he was trying to type.
Ele não tava muito feliz com isso, velho.
And you can see
Ele não ficou muito feliz com isso. Deu pra ver na cara dele. Eu só ouvi o flash. O flash. Muito bom. Enfim, mano. Vamos continuar.
And also, like, yeah,
I'm kind of proud of everybody, like, who made it through this.
Yeah, no, exactly right, exactly right. And also, like, being able, like, this decision is something that will be, you know, spoken about once again, just to see whether a decision like this was made in the
Tá, Karma e EZ puxam, né, essa lane.
About it. Interested to hear your thoughts as well. Just leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Hang on a second, we're on Twitch, never mind. Don't do that.
Whether you ask for it or not, I know there will be a lot of people online who have...
Faker puxou mid, pegou o ward galinha, porque dá tracking no jungler, certo? Já sabem que eles sabem que ele começou topside, teve leash, deixa eu ver se teve leash o Lee. O Lee não teve leash, então o Faker puxou as duas do mid rápido, certo? Porque se ele dá slow push nas duas primeiras, ele não consegue guardar a galinha a tempo de ver o Lee. Então ele puxou rápido as duas primeiras pra poder botar essa ward aqui, porque eles não sabiam onde o Lee tinha começado. Ó, ward galinha. Agora se o Lee fizer galinha, ele toma tracking.
As we are just watching Showmaker get shoved in by the Victor, of course, range advantage here for the Victor, and also a fair bit of early control of the wave. Does mean that Faker should have a lot of control, as we mentioned earlier on. So,
vira que ele tá na galinha.
Theoretically, it should be Damonkia with control of the bottom side of the map, as far as their lanes, and top side of the map should belong to T1, and that is exactly what we're seeing right now, as even Gumush and Keria playing this.
Eles têm o track do Lee agora, que ele tá indo pra baixo.
Kind of built different.
Yeah, I think the breakdown we had from Chronicler and Valdez earlier, I think highlighted some of the stuff we were already talking about in draft. I think having something like Camille on the top side of the map would have been fantastic for T1, or any sort of really strong side lane champion. I think that's the one part of their composition that has a bit of a late game hole, because everything else scales very well. You have a lot of survivability. The Akali win rate, I think, is based on a certain hole in the meta, like this period where Akali was doing well. And in the laning matchup, though, those stats don't reflect it. The early part is obviously rough for Akali, but laning here so far for Showmaker is pretty great.
Yep. checking out the win rate here. I believe the most recent Ezreal Karma match was a loss, so it was 5-0 before that. Certainly has been a lane that's been.
Então, os dois Jones deram power farm, pegaram Scuttle. O Faker colocou uma ward na galinha. O Kennen, o Zeus colocou uma ward no Grump. Eles têm informação do tracking. Bot lane, trocação é pesada. Que o Kennen não foi mid por cima. Porque se ele fosse por cima, ele ia perder muito tempo, velho. E ele não quer perder tempo pra matar o Victor. Ele quer pegar o 6 dele rápido. Se ele delear muito o 6 dele, pode ser ruim. Entendeu? Matar o Victor não vai fazer tanta diferença, mano. Ele ia continuar farmando aí, ó. Ele tá mid, mas não, nem mata ele. Por baixo? Por causa disso, muito difícil matar.
And the question is, like we were talking about before, will we see Prowler's Claw? Will we see any sort of Dustblade lethality build here for the Ezreal? Because I think on the global team here, we're all in agreement that's going to be better than the Crown.
Yeah, no, I like that one a lot. Often our players just don't like building a mythic at all, is kind of the way. Essence Reaver, Mirror Mana, things like that are sort of the way to go. Sherilda's comes in after that. So that's sort of the idea that a lot of the Korean Ezreal players do have at the moment, and certainly going to be a fine choice as well. So we'll see exactly where Doctor's going to go. As Faker's used the
Faker tá sem mana ali mesmo, bem de boa. Acho que ele tá querendo o B de bota, se pá. Botar de Sorcerer. Deixa eu ver, peraí, vamos ver a movimentação aqui. Rolou uma movimentação interessante. Dokodo e Kennen deram B com o push deles. O Shinzao farmou todos os campos. Tá invadindo a galinha que o Faker pegou info com a outra ward dele. Eles sabiam o tempo dessa galinha, tá? Ó. Tá vendo? Eles já tinham... Como ele botou a ward na primeira galinha, eles viram quando ela caiu. Então o Honor tinha o tempo da segunda galinha. O Showmaker tá low, não consegue lutar. O Faker tá sem mana. Quer passou mid pra dar uma moral na wave. O One não pode entrar aí agora, porque eles estão consertando a wave do Faker. Oh, o Faker tá 6. Eita! Pô, TK forte, né, mano? A Karma trollou.
It's the roaming Tom Kench. You know, you just never see it coming. And they're holding Showmaker here.
It's going to look for another one. Okay, Carrier still going to dive on forward as into the Shroud goes Showmaker. Chaos Storm partying underneath this turret right now.
They're going to get played.
Yeah, might just go down, and yeah, Faker collects that money.
And they're denying a little bit of CS as well, pulling them out of experience. Like, this is such a great play. Even if you don't get the second kill here, you just stay, and it forces Kellen to rotate up, but he's not having much luck there, and Gumayusi is free farming in a lane that you normally are losing. You're normally under turret against the Karma Ezreal, and he's just sitting here free farming.
Look at this guy. This portly catfish just wanders past. And yeah, Carrier not going to be, sorry, Kellen not going to be able to lock him down. Canyon here in the area, but isn't going to be able to do enough.
This is the macro gap, Atlas. T1 putting pressure on in one lane.
Looked to me like a catfish gap, not gonna lie.
I mean, there's a little bit of that going on, but they are able to force an Akali who's already struggling out of lane. Now we're looking for the canyon rotation.
Yeah, that's a flash Abyssal Dive to try and get him out, but he's on the leash. Does have the Grey Health, he's going to use it. Is Canyon looking to try and finish that one off, and he does so. They managed to pick up Carrier as Damonkia make it out.
So punished finally here for the aggression that we saw and how deep.
Kenny frisou top.
No matter what, unless you totally botch the execution under turret, because you're even over here pushing the enemy jungler out. Faker has the wave crashing into turret, so minions will be lost. The ignite is good here, and then they see the Karma speed up and walk away, and they just where they get after that. punished for it. Yep.
Vamos ver Herald logo mais. O Guma não deu B ainda.
High value alcove ward there as well. Like that one a lot from Darmon here. So able to even things out. T1 still hold a slight gold advantage.
Ele cancelou o B?
They walk away with
Não,
their
caralho.
blood, as well as still retaining a bunch of CS advantage.
De Villains, muito obrigado pelo sub.
As this wave does begin to stack up.
Vamos ver agora o que a T1 vai fazer, mano. Porque eles estão atrás em tempo, certo? Porém, é EZ contra Jinx. O que a T1 pode fazer agora? Mandar a Jinx pro topside pra pegar o Herald e fazer um trade sides contra o EZ. Porque eles já estão atrás em tempo. Talvez seja a melhor play possível pra eles. A não ser que eles não vão pro Herald e vão cancelar a play do bot. Nossa, a Gwen tá sofrendo, hein?
Advantage that you get as Cannon, it's very similar in matchup because you are ranged, and if Gwen tries to trade with you, you set up a stun, so it's very difficult for her to actually heal through and actually win those trades. It's basically impossible in the early game.
Eita, eles vão... Mano, esses malucos pensam em tudo, cara. Que desgraça, velho.
We talked about it a lot here on our casting desk a million years ago, but
parece que eles estão sempre com o macro perfeito, velho.
Committed to here means I think they're going to need to get more than that. Otherwise, this is not a trade up because Ezreal is getting free plates, and they are going to try to force this dive onto Birdall, and they can turn this into a whole turret if they can actually make this work. And regardless
que
of
doideira, eles vão levar a torre primeiro, pô.
And you're going to lose a turret here if no one else comes up. And unfortunately for Damwon Kia, the response is a little bit late.
Maker looking for the solo kill. There's the perfect execution. Faker flashes, throws down the Chaos Storm, and just says goodbye. But that's definitely a great trade.
Esses All-in são foda, mano. Deu muito dano essa cara. Olha lá, levaram primeiro. Ainda é capaz de levar T2. Passaram mid ainda.
Look at the wards, all to the left of the Rift Herald pit. They have, with that dive top side, which was cancelled, of course, by Birdall backing away. They have several wards.
Mano, tô te falando, parece que eles sempre têm a melhor resposta pra todas as situações, velho. Isso é bizarro, cara. Porque eu tô aqui, tipo assim, sem pressão, com o mapa aberto, falando o que é o melhor pra fazer. E eles vão lá e fazem todas as vezes, cara. É bizarro, mano. É muito difícil com o mapa fechado, rapaziada. Vocês não tem noção.
Showmaker just pushing the issue a little bit too far, and he's feeling frustrated, he's feeling the pressure, he's down 15 CS, got Faker's flash, wants to prove further that he can actually get back into more of an even territory in this lane, try to grab a plate.
Tipo assim, eu não vou negar que eu prefiro a situação, eu acho que eu prefiro a situação DZ aqui, que ele pegou tudo solo. Mas mesmo assim, mano, a T1 tava numa posição de desvantagem. Eles terem achado uma resposta even já é incrível.
End up being pretty massive here for Damwon Kia, because that's what they did gain. This is the ultimate that was also expended here from Zeus. Zeus, not over here. Yep. And so, you know, Duckdom is going to be very accelerated and in this game because he picked up all his blades bottom side. How much will that impact the mid game? I think it will be a lot.
No, I'm hoping so for Darmon's case, right? Like, if you are a Darmon fan and you want this series to go to 3 games, in fact, if you're just a League of Legends fan, you probably want this series to go to 3 games. It was the 3rd game that was the most interesting the first time around with our Gwen jungle that we saw.
Tá, deixa eu voltar aqui pra ver as movimentações de mapa, tá? Desculpa, rapaziada, eu preciso voltar. Às vezes eu dou uma dormida. Tá, eles mataram o arrombado. Shinzal voltou a farmar. A Jinx já tá voltando à base, tá na frente em tempo do EZ. O Victor tá na frente em tempo. Tá, bot side eles estão na frente, eles vão estar na frente em wave. Ó, o Faker tá indo bem pelo cantinho ali.
No, I'm hoping so for Darmon's case, right? Like, if you
puxaram uma wave.
Faker
puxou uma, alguma foda-se puxou outra. Já entraram no rio.
The first time around with our Gwen jungle that we saw managed to set up that really nice level 1. But we need to get there for that to happen. And right now, Damwon Kia are about 1,500 gold behind And Doctorm is certainly the man that really has a lot on his back as far as getting stuff done. He was the one that got priority in the draft to get that lane as powerful as possible.
Another problem for Doctorm here is that with the gold he got,
Faker falou, foda-se bot, eu não sobrevivo lá. Juntou no mid, agora decidiu só coletar o wave, porque ele não consegue disputar o wave.
Potential duo there it is, shown just briefly.
Yeah, and Faker's gonna look for it. There's the kick flash, and Faker felt like he was in relatively safe distance, and I did too, but it's not.
Yeah.
Showmaker's gonna finish that off with the perfect execution. This time it's going to work out, and bring your friends is the aim of the game.
Finally, Damwon Kia are able to take out this Victor and breathe on the map a little bit. They are able to punish Faker, who was sidelining safely, as you mentioned, and how he knew he had an inkling of something coming, but he's like, nah, I showed myself.
O Faker foi punido. Tá vendo como, tipo assim, o Faker não jogou errado ali. O Faker tava, mano, ele entendia que tinha chance dele morrer e ele tava de boa. Mas o Canon teve que extrair o máximo do Lee Sin pra poder fazer uma play em cima do Faker. Extrair o máximo, né? Então tu vê, é difícil fazer play neles, velho. Acho foda isso o cara saber respeitar a jogada mesmo assim tomar. É porque o outro maluco jogou muito bem. No caso o Canyon, né? O Canyon sabia que ele tava sem flash e já sabia como ia a play. Não, não tô falando que só o Canyon consegue extrair muito do Lee Sin. Tô falando que é difícil achar essas oportunidades de play num jogo de tão alto nível.
Had to invest a lot into making sure that they got the kill onto Faker, but I think that if you get the flash from the Victor, punishing it is very important.
Yeah, and that's why they were so far, and that's why Showmaker was so far up earlier and was punished himself, as he really wanted that Victor pick.
Well, Zeus not going to try and fight Kellen here. Didn't have enough information as to what was going on. 13 minutes into
Explica a bota do Faker? CDR. Pra dar mais Q e correr mais.
We did see, of course, T1 investing Shelly on the top side of the map, and the bottom lane did get punished for it. Faker now trying to get some farm done, and is going to be doing so. Actually has managed to increase his lead by just...
Aí agora eles sentaram a bunda e começaram a farmar T1. T1 não quer lutar agora, não quer nenhuma play. O Faker não tem nenhum item ainda.
To see Faker fall down in the early stage, but Showmaker getting more kills. That's what T1 needs to worry about, because his Akali was actually just the most dangerous that we had, but he just didn't...
Dangerous Akali do Showmaker.
You know, I want to say somewhat difficult to peel with composition here for T1, because obviously the cannon ult, if it's used, if Akali's trying to get the back time at
Faker fez coroa,
that time,
indo pro mid por causa do Herald.
But
a DK tá jogando 3 lanes, porque o EZ é muito safe. Eles estão com tempo. Aí eles falaram, ah, a Kali tá lá, a gente pegou o push com a Jinx já, deixa eu voltar e farmar minha side. Aí eu tenho um TP, aí o Faker foi lá, ele só foi lá porque tem TP.
And you see, make it see a comeback this game because of the Akali, because of the Gwen. You need that extra survivability as Faker so you can dish out that damage. Late game, Jinx on the other hand, because her positioning is going to be a lot more ranged and a lot more waiting for that first tick, the first part of the excitement, she's actually going to build Bracket Slayer, which I agree with here as well.
I agree with it because of the Tahm-Kench, right? If you've got Devour, then you don't need to Gale Force around and you can have that extra damage. I like it.
Yeah, it's not that greedy when you consider the Tahm-Kench. You consider that she will be further away from the fight than Victor will in every situation.
Yep. Well, T1 jostling for some position around Shirley. Q's connecting here for Canyon as he's fishing for opportunities to make those plays. Does not have the flash available, and Showmaker...
Tá guiando farm agora é o Kennen. 21, valeu pelo sub.
Birdall can't get in here, and Zeus has flash ult, so I think you really have to respect this as Damwon Kia.
Well, Carrier dashing on forward, not exactly what he wants to do, as he does have some gray health to go through. True Shot Barrage does push the Tahm-Kench out of this fight almost completely though, as Shirley is going to back towards that pit. Showmaker able to start things off again, as you can see Damwon Kia dealing with this mid lane minion wave.
Eles estão numa dança fodida ali, hein, velho. Decidiram, ó. Mesma situação, tipo, mesma não, a situação muito parecida do treino hoje, velho. tava ali na dança do Herald e tal, viu que eles ganharam alguma vantagem. O que eles fizeram? Vamos, mano, vamos pro Dragon, Herald de vocês.
Drake is more important, but I think it's someone key. You have to start this one ASAP and at least get something out of this and try to turn this into a topside play onto the Victor, who's, you know, not going to be able to hold this one down forever. The time is of the essence. Like, the slower you do this as Damwon Kia, the less valuable, and the smaller the
E aí,
time
levou
value
bot.
out of the second Herald
Levou
actually
bot não.
will be. So,
Oh, here we
Tá
go.
puxando o
Oh,
bot.
there's a Cloud Soul. Finally, we get a relevant soul, everyone. Very happy about that.
Because Atlas, you mentioned the Drake being more important. Yeah, they get the Drake, now they're going to get this turret here. And on the other side of the map, like, they just backed with the Eye. They use the Eye for the Empower back, but they don't actually make a topside play at the same time. So T1 are just once again getting the better exchange on the map. They're 2,000 gold ahead in this 2-2 game.
It's about efficiency.
Aí o TK tá perto do Faker ali pra...
They went shopping and they went to the
pra comer ele.
center that had the shops.
Ele comemorou o Cloud Soul? Não, ele fez meme. Falando que a gente vai ter que vai ter uma alma relevante nesse jogo.
And so they went down towards that bottom lane and managed to grab that one as well. My analogy fell flat on its face. I hope you guys understood what I was trying to say.
It was T1 went to Walmart. There's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
everything there, you know?
Yeah, it's got everything. Yeah, I don't know whether they've got affordable prices because I don't go to Walmart ever because it wasn't in my country when I grew up.
Yeah, no, it's Walmart.
Do you buy walls there?
No.
Well, that seems like a bit of false
I
advertising.
think the guy's last name started with the Wall, the guy who made it. I think that's why it's called Walmart.
Was he Walter? Was that? Oh, wait, that's first name. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I don't
Someone will need to confirm for me whether they sell walls at Walmart.
They don't. I mean, well, they might have like some wallpaper stuff there at this point.
Yeah.
What don't they have at Walmart is the thing. But
Well, maybe
T1
walls.
T1 ends up getting a little bit of the walls deleted, right? They get a turret bottom side.
That was a segue. I love that.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah.
There's still 1,500
Vou assinar a Amazon só pra dar Prime aqui. Que isso, Kelvin?
Time is ticking on the second Rift Herald. Looks like they want to try to use
Uma
it
honra
for
se você
turret,
fizer
but
isso,
timing
velho.
of it isn't going to work out for this next Drake either. Like, it's going to be a very awkward amount of power they get from this, whereas I think if they had instantly run up and tried to collapse on the Faker, they might have gotten a turret worst case scenario.
It's a possibility.
Bit slow on the macro here, Damwon Kia, with that take.
Ah, mano, por enquanto os times estão só treinando, velho. Não tá tendo muito só treinando, só farmando.
Ona also sidesteps that last one, so we'll count that. Zeus here on the bottom side is going to start losing out in these side lanes. Right now he's doing alright as Showmaker looking for Faker. Faker just looking for a minion wave. Wants this Akali to stop being silly. He's actually going to get stunned up, and so yeah, Faker will miss a
O
bit
Victor
of
nem
CS
dá dano na Akali.
to Showmaker's shenanigans.
Got the ultimate out, and, you know, if there was only imagine if there was
A T1 agora congelou o mapa
That's what could have happened.
e tá só em setup de farm. Ryan Vini, valeu pelo sub, meu querido, seja bem-vindo. O que a T1 fez? Eles estão guardando na linha da entrada da jungle deles. O TK e o Shinzal estão ficando dentro da jungle, rodando de lane em lane, ajudando eles a farmar e defender se for tomar alguma play. Então eles ficam perto do mid, a Jinx pega a wave, eles vão pra perto do Victor, ajuda o Victor a pegar a wave, e aí eles travaram o jogo e estão farmando. Só que o que acontece? Quando tem uma matchup de tipo Akali contra Victor, normalmente a Akali ela tem vantagem na side lane, né, obviamente. Então o Showmaker ele tava muito CS atrás do Faker. Só que o Faker teve que givar tanto pra fazer lane assignment certo e afins, que agora a Akali passou ele. Por quê? Porque, pô, durante o setup, o Faker tem que juntar, a Akali fica na side, logo a Akali fica pegando farm. Então, naturalmente, o Showmaker passou em farm o Faker. Isso acontecia muito, velho. Eu me tiltava um pouco isso às vezes. Porque, tipo, o cara pega assassino e ele vai ficar na tua frente de farm, velho. E é isso.
But again, if you look at what they could get with this Herald now, and what they could have even when they took it, like, T1 were right to give it up because what they gained was so much greater. And I know we keep going back to this, but the reason I keep harping on it is because T1's macro has just been so infallible, it feels like, as of late. Even at the beginning of the season, but in their last few series, it's really a standout.
Yeah, their decision-making has just been better. right now. That has equated to just under a lead. Let's see whether this can be the changes. That knock-up was amazing. Canyon's gonna have to get out of there. Shirley does do some work. The flash has to be invested. Gets Canyon out of the way of the Super Mega Death Rocket, which looked to me like it was about to kill him. So that is
Vini L12 falou. Laguei, mano. Obrigado pelo sub. Seja bem-vindo, Vini.
It's like a Lee Sin without flash is like a wizard without a wand. I mean, you know, it's your primary
you're
tool,
just
right?
a human.
Yeah.
Sim, às vezes o top tem que largar o farm. Normalmente, rapaziada, você tem que entender que os times mid-game, eles optam muito por fazer o lane assignment 4-1, que é 4 numa lane e 1 em outra. Então, normalmente são 3 carries. Um deles não tá farmando. Às vezes é o mid lane, às vezes é o top laner.
Primary tool now,
Depende.
really aggressive
Por isso que tu vê, tipo,
and so you flash.
o jogo early game sendo tão lento, porque o pessoal quer farmar o máximo possível no early game, pra depois do mid game, quando tu tem que fazer o lane assignment certo, tu tá givando farm, mas tu não ficar tão atrás do jogo. Porque se tu farma pouco e começa o lane assignment no mid game, tu fica muito atrás. Se tu é o cara que tem que givar. E nesse caso que tu tem um side laner no top e um control mage no mid, normalmente o control mage vai ter que givar. Dividir farm com AD.
As Dom1Kia just desperately trying to get prio, and you've got good wave clear, but it isn't good enough. The answer is no, not to get this, Drake controlled. And because we're not at a point yet where Birdall can push super hard, as you can see, he is starting to win out these side lanes. He's not going to be able to threaten anything just yet. Like, Dom1Kia will be able to pull T1 around the map a little bit later.
Agora o jogo tá bom pra ter um, mano. Eles conseguiram estabilizar o jogo, só farmando. Faker quase com 2 itens, Jinx com 2 itens. Por que eles fizeram isso também até um? Porque o EZ tá com 2 itens agora. EZ com 2 itens é muito forte.
Winning this fight as Dom1Kia walking into T1 with no vision is going to be a challenge. And I think, you know, the risk here is so high, especially when your Lee Sin is flashless. You don't have any pick potential here.
Yeah, the forced engage just really isn't there, right? It's a Karma. Yes, you can run fast at them, but it has to be a flank, you know? You have to get that vision denial and make stuff happen right now. I mean,
eu li alguma coisa, foi backdoor, né?
T1, so that setup for guaranteed vision and blindness for T1 is just not really there.
If they could force Zeus to over here on the flank ult, you know, for example, if Showmaker could make that happen, it would be fantastic, but he's just not there yet, right? He doesn't have a Shadow Flame online. If he did, you know, maybe he could actually force that to happen and they could look to win a fight without that ultimate. But Zeus is holding his ground.
Yeah, Gumushi in a little bit of trouble, taking a bit of damage there from Doctam, whose poke is relevant as he starts this one up. Not a lot of lifesteal completed here for Gumushi, theoretically, as Showmaker standing on a control ward. Zeus checking the flanks nicely. You saw he actually popped the blast cone early, understood that flanks are a huge deal. As now Gumushi actually going to bait them in. Bertle, unfortunately, doesn't have Mist available. He will manage to stay alive for the moment, but manages to wait for that cooldown as well, as T1 are just going to chase Dom1Kia out of that river. Looks like the cloud is going to belong to T1 this time.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Showmaker, he wasn't able to do anything to Zeus, and the fight happened without Zeus. Like, he wasn't even, he didn't ult, he didn't flash, he didn't rocket belt.
Barrage might actually be relevant here. It's, T1
Eles vão lutar ainda DK, mano? Eles não lutam isso, nem fudendo. Não luta, não luta.
The area is not his target.
The power of Cannon existing here means it's so difficult for Dom1 to actually fight and engage because they have to be wary of his angle, and here he is!
Yeah, here he goes! Zeus is going to lock, throws down an ignite, but that is all he really gets to do is, okay, some snips coming down as well as Canyon immediately is going to get ignited, the zap comes through.
Bom, não foi falta de aviso.
Excited, and now Carrier is trying to run this one down as well. Bertle going down extraordinarily low, and he will be taken out. It's Owner that collects that kill, and Dom1Kia just not looking like the same team that we saw earlier on in the year. It's not looking like a 3-gamer right now as this mid-outer turret's going to fall down.
Zeus' positioning was so perfect around every part of that. As Dom1Kia went past the mid-turret into red side jungle to try to find a forced engage. This could be big.
Strong. Well, that's a lot of damage.
She, like, doesn't yield afterwards.
Okay,
Free nice isso.
This time for Showmaker the hero. Well, he's going to look for it, but it's going to be the Baron going down. Doctam wanting to find that flank as in goes Showmaker, immediately dies.
Caralho, o Showmaker tá com síndrome de Tockres, ele pegar assassino e se matar.
Doctam's turn. Let's just take it in turns.
Showmaker's like, I'm going in, because he has the opportunity to get 3 kills in the backline if he actually gets on top of that, but...
Yeah, I mean, I kind of respect his decision, but it didn't feel like... It felt like the heart decision, not the brain decision, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's... It's definitely a moment where you can feel the desperation for Damwon Kia. It's one of those games where things have gone massively wrong. And again, on this flank, Showmaker's like, if their health bars are just a little bit lower, if I have just one more item, I actually go in on this and we win this. But they're losing out on the war of attrition here. Is, you know, you come in here as Showmaker going, okay, look at these low health bars. Zayas doesn't have ult. He doesn't have flash. I can get this done. Nope.
It's the
send it with the pressure guard.
Perfect timing as well.
We've seen this against Leona too. If you're a patient Jin Zhao, you're better than Poppy. Like, you do the same thing as Poppy, except you deliver that champion to your team.
Yeah.
Shut down the mobility. Use it against your opponent. Oh, this is just a masterclass from T1, and Damwon Kia are running out of options.
Yeah, this is Damwon Kia definitely not looking like their old selves. So we have this minion wave being ushered towards the inner turret on the bottom side of the map. Meanwhile, Bertle able to deal with the mid lane turret, but I think this one's definitely dead. I don't think Damwon Kia in the 4 are going to be able to do anything, especially with Ona waiting off to the side. Burden. Bertle.
He's feeling the burden.
I was trying to find a way to not make that sound like a Freudian slip, but there was just no way making out of it, as it's not been on him, to be perfectly honest. It's been a
Kennen, like, punish this if they positioned everywhere he needed to be in every single fight. Also, the bot lane went very well. Carry out roams, gave Faker huge leads over the Akali, and like you said, it's a team effort. Like, this T1 will get value every single place you give them a chance to on the map, and they'll trade, but they'll trade up. And it's hard to criticize this.
O macro que até tem jogado essas últimas rodadas, pra mim é, mano, o mais perto do perfeito que eu já vi.
I think the Damwon Kia's drafting has really, it's fallen off a little bit towards the second round robin, unfortunately. I feel like the Gwen as the 5th pick is really not giving the value that something like this Kennen is doing in this particular position, right? Like, if you don't manage to utilize the value of the side of the map that you're on in the draft, then I think that is like a huge failing, and an issue that you really need to sort out, because watching how, you know, the Caitlyn first pick, even though the lane didn't work out, T1
Que até jogando é literalmente como eu acho o jeito mais óptimo de se jogar League of Legends. É tipo como se eu falasse, mano, eu quero que um time jogue League of Legends perfeitamente da maneira que eu vejo League of Legends sendo jogado. Parece que é até 1, velho.
He actually dashed into that with, like, the sickest prediction, as Gumusi knows he's going to try to get as far away as possible before he backs, right? Like, prediction is very good.
Yeah.
I love how T1 just 4-1 this, though, with the Kennen, who can, of course, engage from long away. Once he has his teleport back up, he becomes a force to be reckoned with. He's just skipped the stopwatch entirely this game because he doesn't care.
There are a few ultis on cooldown, but it looks like Ona does not care about that whatsoever. Going to clear out some vision as Kellen takes so much zap damage. This 3-item Jinx is really scary. True Shot barrages are landing. More Malmortius done for Doctarm in the Mythicless build that he has decided to go with. As T1 still here, setting up for the Drake, still feeling strong enough, and can't really blame him. 7,000 gold is their lead. They can smack him with their wallets. That's going to be the steal from Canyon, though. Gets the kick back onto Owner as well, and they just want to get out. Carrier is going to fall. Has he kept them in position for long enough is the question. The answer is T1 don't care. They're just getting out. As Showmaker, can he find the flank? There's the 5-point strike. He backflips through. Gets into the shroud as well. And
nossa, ele matou ainda, mano.
Gumayushi before he dies.
So we're going to be a lot of gold going over the
Kelvin DS, muito obrigado pelo sub.
So tying it up 2-2, which is really important because their side laning is better. They have the Akali that can side lane very well. They have the Gwen that can side lane, so they can 1-3-1 this.
Ele falou que ia dar o sub, deu mesmo, mano. Que cara bom.
Objective bounty here with this turret too, if they can actually secure it. Canyon's waiting
Homem de palavra. Raridade hoje em dia.
But this was a great win for Damwon Kia, and finally I feel like we have something we can pretty hard criticize T1 for, the way that they grouped up.
Ifcid, muito obrigado pelo sub também. Valeu pela força, rapaziada, vocês são foda, sério.
To actually take a fight they want. And this is, again, as you mentioned, no ultimates here. They don't have the Kennen ult, so he can't engage. He also does not have flash. So Damwon Kia knows it's a free take if they want it, and if T1 actually put their front line forward to engage, as Carrier did, Showmaker rips through the back line. So they have to eventually back away here. Showmaker does trade one more here for one on top of himself, which was, you know, arguably not 100% necessary, but he's just trying to get a little bit more gold into his pocket so he can do it again and again and again as Akali becomes more lethal.
Well, Canyon could be in trouble. There's the dash cannon. Q going to connect there onto Owner as Showmaker. Let's see whether he can get himself out of this scenario. Does have the Twilight Shroud as now Owner decides he doesn't want to fight this one. Not enough members of T1 in the area. Gumayushi is going to turn up as the Flame Chompers go down. Showmaker immediately goes gold. Gumayushi is still free hitting. Doctarm taking so much, but does manage to get rid of the Jinx. And now Owner pops his stopwatch as well. As Bertol's chasing after him. He's going to snip through the Zins out. Faker has to flash, but Bertel does manage to get over that wall as well. Zeus, can you get the stuns down? Bertel, can you kill Faker? And the answer is yes in the end.
And this should be a Baron. Damwon Kia have completely turned this game around now. It took one false move from T1, taking that Drake fight without their ultimates, then pushing together and overextending on the top side of the map, and suddenly all of that lead that T1 had, all the tempo, all the map control, can be wiped off. It's a clean slate here on the Rift.
Pior que aqui não é nem macro, mano. É decisão errada.
Becoming a real pressure that they have to deal with. Zeus' ult timing there, not great, not really going to get a ton of value. Also now flashless, also now ultless. There's no way that T1 could try to come across the map.
Super Mega Death Rocket? Never. Still going to throw it, but the Baron is going to get taken on the way. So Jonas Strong doesn't even get to have a good time.
So Damwon Kia have really wrestled control right now. T1's still a 2,000 gold ahead, and their comp still functions in team fights. But it's moves like this that Damwon Kia bait, where this ult from Zeus, very low impact, right? Now he's flashless because he has to use it in this exchange. And T1 end up losing Keria again. And Owner, man, he tries to turn this. God bless him, man. Like, Faker bless him. What do you want to say? Like, he actually turns around, crescent guards perfectly, then stopwatches, and avoids a lot of the damage, and almost is able to turn this because Faker's damage is so high.
Acho que o time da LPL bate frente com esse KT. Não assistiu o suficiente pra dizer da LPL ainda.
They lose so much from this, and for what? Just an attempted push there on the top. Turn this because crescent guards. God, one end up losing because he has to use it from Zeus. Very low impact. Moves like this that Damwon Kia bait.
A ideia do Zeus foi boa, mano. Só que o Showmaker saiu da ult dele. É, o Zeus podia ter jogado melhor, mas
T1 end up losing Keria again. And Owner, man, he tries to turn this. God bless him, man. Like, Faker bless him. What do you want to say? Like, he actually turns around, crescent guards perfectly, then stopwatches, and avoids a lot of the damage, and almost is able to turn this because Faker's damage is so high. But it's not enough in the end. He will, of course, have to flash away. Zeus does.
It was
so
just,
T1, they lose so much from this, and for what?
Getting a bit ahead of themselves.
é, a T1 tá muito bem, velho. Mas tu vê, a T1 perde jogos se, tipo, eles dão engage errado ou se eles começam a trollar, mano. O macro deles é insano, cara, é insano. Vocês nunca viram falar isso de um time, mano. Eu assisto eles e eu me assusto. Porque eu viro e falo, mano, eu acho que a melhor jogada possível é essa. 5 segundos depois eles fazem.
And Damwon Kia know that Zeus has no flash. They know his teleport should be coming up soon. But it's just no longer easy for Ken to just say, well, I can do whatever I want because we have control by default. Not anymore. Now you have to get through an Akali who's fed, who has Zonias, to get into the front lines to ult, where a finally online Ezreal, who has 4 items, is chipping away at your team comp non-stop. Damwon Kia, they were fine before. Now they're in a commanding lead over the map.
They definitely are. And also, if Damwon Kia get to play side lanes the way that they are able to now, then T1 is definitely not having a good time, because after that, I mean, Zeus is not going to be able to side lane against anyone. I think that Bertel and Showmaker should theoretically be able to take. Just going to be tidying up the mess that is now being provided by Damwon Kia. They take the Drake for free as well.
Yeah.
And T1, I think it's now about getting yourself together. What you're looking for. A lot of damage, right?
Yeah. No, it's true.
Opa,
the
mutado.
Damage is going to be a lot more consistent. There will be a lot more opportunities around objectives before, like in what I like to call the neutral, before you actually.
Nem lembro mais o que eu falei, mano. Isso que é foda.
Around wards and trying to get mid prio. Ezreal is just going to be chunking at you with those Qs. Every time the Mystic shot hits, you lose a fifth of your health bar as somebody's squishy backline. So, and it's going to be.
A T1 não vai trocar o Zeus pelo Nuguri, mano. Com o time dando certo assim. E o Nuguri já não deu certo na FPX, velho, porque ele não tinha amigos. Não acho que na T1 vai ser muito diferente, ele vai querer ir pra DK.
There were just not necessarily super obvious, but it is there. There were so many fights, I think, where if he had a stopwatch, he would have been able to push the issue further, and you know, Unless he bought one and used it and it broke and then he sold the broken one and I missed it, which I really don't.
Award, so he's not back in base. I saw something happen to his items.
Yeah, we'll see soon, but he's gonna need one, is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah.
Like if he's used it already, which I don't think has happened, but if he did, he's not gonna have it now. He needs his Zonius, he needs that activatable to survive and be able to go deep.
Well, now we've got 6 items for Doctarm. We need to turn the little cape into something here for Gumayusi, and we'll see what that's going to be in a little bit. But he has so much damage. Like, this is damage, damage, damage. For the Jinx, not going to be picking up anything like, those defensive choices.
He's backing Zeus right now, but he's in this brush.
Caralho, que desenho tem cooldown, velho.
Help Gumayusi grab a kill if Doctarm's pushing too far here. Also, if you don't win a fight, you can't get map control back against this comp. It's too risky, you're too fragile. Even the Tahm Kench doesn't feel great clearing wards into this. So if you don't win a fight as T1, like your chances of then...
You still need to try and get towards a point where you can actually get those 5v5s happening. I think T1 now trying to play around this Baron in the minute before this Cloud Soul comes up. They're probably just not going to fight for the Cloud Soul, is what I would assume.
Tinha ouvido falar sobre... Já tinha ouvido falar sobre a filosofia do trabalho do Kalec? Não, Cap, não vi. Tem corte? Olha o farm do Guma. O moleque é bom, pô.
Damwon Kia's comp runs into them in theory, and you will be able to press your ultimate as Zeus and get a lot of damage done if you can hit multiple targets. So
vamos ver a luta, mano. Esse ponto não tem mais macro, é só teamfight quase.
Bertle is in whatsoever pit, and Showmaker is going to be there as well, but T1 they have no really loves doing.
Exactly. That's going to be what's going to give you control. Oh man, this Ezreal is starting to be a real big threat. But that's what's going to give you control here as T1 is the ability to push waves with that. What happens if you lose?
Resume pra mim então, Felipe.
With big time in the you crush or you don't have them, we go. I wish we had something else in the top.
Volta no Baron Rato. Eu vi. Eu não tenho muito o que comentar, falar a verdade. Foi uma boa call.
Damwon have no idea.
This is very sneaky. Gumayusi over the wall with the rockets, and Owner is able to tank this one up. Zeus on a flank of Nuff. He's trying to act as best as possible.
Such a good sell from Zeus.
Oh,
They're just not going to know.
This. The Baron just goes.
Yeah. Esse Drago é inútil mesmo. Foi uma boa call. O próximo, eles vão tentar fazer Siege agora e vão perder uma luta, né? Eles são muito inteligentes, cara. Eles sempre têm resposta pra tudo, velho. Desse tipo de time não dá pra ganhar, velho.
Working out, True Shot Barrage does not connect onto either Owner or Zeus.
T1 are just hoping that Damwon Kia try to turn, try to look for this fight. Showmaker on the angle here.
Yeah, dangerous for Faker here because of course Showmaker we've seen could be deadly if he manages to catch you unawares.
Zeus is just hoping that they commit in so he can get a defensive.
Yep.
Oh, here we go.
He's found him. There's the stopwatch broken immediately by Faker. He does have Chaos Storm down, Super Mega Death Rocket just to make sure. Showmaker had already backed away, so Flash retained for Faker, but stopwatch, a huge cooldown.
Yeah, but not going to be Flash.
Acontece nada, cara. Vai, vamos. Agora acabou o macro, é só junta 5 mid e responde side. Olha lá. Eu vou esperar o Dragon. Aí, agora vai ser o Dragon.
Actually break Faker's crown with that ultimate, which is pretty huge. If he had lost that, that could have been.
Zeus has a death cap now.
Yeah, it does not, of course, have a stasis, but he just clearly wants the damage instead. That's been his MO this whole game. Is he's looking for an angle here.
Yeah, you can see the vision of T1. Not a whole lot. Canyon still waiting for his opportunity. And here we are, all of T1 grouped up. Faker spots Canyon on the flank, and immediately he gets the heck out of there. That's going to be the kickback, and there are multiple flashes all over, but Canyons is used defensively.
Now
Faker.
They should be able to just rush over.
Dois flash por isso.
Damwon can actually get onto this Elder first. They had so much power, but they're not able to do so. They didn't know where Zeus was, which is the scariest thing, right? Okay, we were able to see T1 push for the Canyon pick, but
man,
not able
Cannon's
to
really doing some big damage right now with that death cap now completed. He is very scary. You saw Bertle there towards the south of your screen. Taken a lot, but now this is looking like it's going to be
50-50 mesmo, e foda-se.
Can actually get that flash in there as Showmaker comes down. It is going to be the Elder taken by Canyon. His smite hand so strong as in towards this backline they go. Gumayusi starting to pop up, and it doesn't matter.
Foda-se, Dragon. Tem uma Jinx.
That this Jinx
batendo pouco, velho.
And Damwon Kia, they get the Elder Drake, but they lose out on the fight.
And Damwon Kia will be able to take him on the opposite here. I don't know if they'll be able to get more than that, but Gumushi is certainly looking for it.
Yeah, True Shot Barrage not going to find Carrier, and it looks like T1 are done with this game. Maybe they just want to try and end. They have so much turret damage with Faker and Gumushi here, especially with this Lich Bane build as Faker.
Morreu.
Oh my god, so incredibly close.
Nossa, o dano dele.
Pushing the issue here. You have opposite side to Baron, inhibitor down, so just back off, respawn, let those super they can end the game. But
to potentially come on through.
Não, eles não vão ficar e dar GG, né? Eles são muito inteligentes, pô.
Make this risk or take this risk as T1 because you're up 1-0 in this series too.
They're thinking of going for a flip for it as now Bertle will try and get out, and the fact that he does escape successfully is huge. But now Ona trying to stop these backs. The Baron has been stopped. Ona's trying to get over there. Doctom immediately kills him as now Bertle. Can he actually stop this? Nexus turret number 1 goes down. Showmaker loses his entire health bar before he manages to go into his Zhonya's and then is going to be taken down. Now the Nexus is back. Gumushi flashes, gets himself out of the way, and T1 secure the 3-0.
Caralho, velho.
Oh, man, they made
Que
it
cal
sweat
foda,
for it.
sério.
Oh, T1
Eles são muito
steal
inteligentes,
the game
mano.
away. They lost control after a
Muito,
few
muito,
poor
muito,
team
muito,
fights,
muito,
and
muito,
Zayas
muito,
never